Page 38, Decalogue, first recommendation. You shall have no other mites, and no gods, tin gods, and holy ones next to the creation. That is the first recommendation, according to which you have to arrange your requirements of life. You shall at any one time, at any one moment, be conscious of what you yourself have to uphold. In any one situation of life, whichever kind of circumstances surround you, you shall know that the creation is the only power that advisingly and helpingly stands by your side at all times. You shall know that it never and never is that which often and often brings the oppressive hardship to you, because you always attract hardship and misery and everything else yourself. This is the way of the evolution by which you strengthen yourself, and through which you gather knowledge, love, and wisdom in truth. You shall know that you alone determine the direction of your life, that you, however, through the unending love of the creation, are getting hold of all powers which you require on the way of your evolution towards the relative absolute fulfillment. These are powers given to you and worked out by you and come from the creation, next to which no other might exists, neither in the good nor in the evil. Good and evil are only created by the human being through his or her thoughts, and through the thus released powers whereby he or she forms new mites. These human-created mites, however, are not created in creational love and in permanent form, so therefore they are contrary to the laws and recommendations of the creation. Gods are human life forms, created by the creation, like you. Tin gods are cult objects, made by human beings, out of any materials of coarse material substance. However, both of them are not the creation, nor ever its substitute, but rather only forms created by it, or through human beings, which are subordinate to all of the laws and recommendations of the creation, just as you and we. Thereby, it is clearly deciphered. The creation alone is real power, might, and creation of all. It alone is due the love and honor of its own creations, and next to it no other might is existing. However, neither gods, or tin gods, or saints, and images of saints, which could take over as its substitute, or even take on its position itself. The creation permits you to make all expenditures that are necessary for the preservation and evolution of your life. However, it does not permit any other mites next to itself. Thus also no gods, tin gods, saints, and images of saints. Everything next to it that is worshipped or even prayed to means polytheism and cultish religion, heathenism, and is foreign to every veneration of creation. This recommendation lies anchored in the nature through the creation itself, as also all other recommendations. And this first offered recommendation emphatically says, you shall have no other mites or gods and tin gods or holy ones and images of holy ones next to the creation. Therefore, if you long for this or that, which your sense can realize and wishes to realize, then examine beforehand. Is the same of creational origin? If you now recognize that it is not so now, then your rising love for the creation will protect you beforehand, that you have no other mites next to it, and that you serve no god, and no tin gods or saints or shrines, even for a moment, except exclusively the creation alone, which in truth is your all, and which will remain your all for all great times. Behold, human being of the earth, in this manner the innermost spiritual value of the first recommendation given by the creation is taken in. You see and know it now, what you have to do. Therefore, you have to consent to no temptation. If your striving is to serve the creation and through it every single other human being, now, then you will and shall never and never lack in the power in order to preserve yourself at any one time within the love of the creation. If you are, however, within the love of the creation at all times, so these words of the instruction spoken to you are also always controlling or venerable to you, and they shall remain controlling to you. Therefore, you become similar to the creation, and after the fulfillment of your evolution, enter into it. This is also the purpose of the recommendations given to you by the creation. How many thousands and millions and billions of human beings of the earth know the laws and recommendations given by the creation as such, and yet heedlessly pass them by? What is the consequence of this? The unbelief and belief, and the deluded belief, and the cultish, unreal religions which fester through the entire humankind of the earth. Even there where the truth from and within the creation is announced, little true knowledge and wisdom and love is to be found, because for most of the human beings willing to serve the creation, next to the knowledge about the creation, there is still a god, a tin god, or a saint, or a shrine, which the same is thus nevertheless served, although often unconsciously. Many, however, want to be knowing, but in truth are without noteworthy knowledge. Through their professional education, they believe themselves to be more capable as proclaimers of the truth and prophets than those who have not enjoyed such schooling. This truly is not so, however, for only the teachings of the Spirit enable a human being to become a proclaimer of the truth, or prophet. However, their apprenticeship is obstructed by very many hindrances that are necessary to overcome. According to human estimation, these teachings are unhumane and unhuman because they are marked with extraordinarily many afflictions, hardship, misery, and deprivations that only a spiritual human being is able to take upon himself or herself. Not, however, a human being whose senses are caught up in the material intellect. Therefore, each one examine himself or herself. Has he or she assimilated this recommendation given by the creation within himself or herself according to its true significance? However, if even only the smallest of the same is found, per se, that does not conform with the laws and recommendations of the creation, then he or she can and should know that also for the same a god or tin god or saint or several gods, tin gods or saints, and images of saints are existing, which he or she serves or even indulges in, through which the unclarities and untruths can arise in him or her. The gods, tin gods, saints, and images of saints and other mights next to the creation impedes, for each human being, the way of the spiritual evolution and the spiritual rebirth, and only through these can the high culmination point of the relative absolute fulfillment and union with creation be achieved. We explain this to you, however, also to every other one who stands within the love for the creation, in order to lead him or her to the cognition which will clearly and precisely tell him or her whether he or she, next to the creation, also still pays homage to other mights, gods, tin gods, or saints, and images of saints. This is the determination of the creation, which for you shall be the only creation and the only power and might that you have to give your entire love in order to become united with it, the creation of all living created creations for all great times. Behold, human being of the earth, the creation has thus set its first recommendation, and according to the emerging necessity, I will give to you on and on new clarification from our spiritually high level, which swings higher than anything known to you until now, in order to explain the further recommendations to you. Therefore you, in all your relevant life circumstances, have precise information for you to be certain at any time that the creation is one in all, and that the whole is nevertheless, again, nothing other than the love itself, that binds all life in itself, out of which emerges the highest blissful happiness for the truly knowing ones. Yet, For those who have other mites, gods, tin gods, saints, or images of saints next to the creation, all the elements emerge which stand against the love of the creation, because all and each is based on the law of the proliferation. Therefore, practice love, and again it will be only love alone that is the emerging fruit for you.